Okay. Get this up. Okay, so this is my name is William. Okay, now today I got something to talk. Today I'm going to talk about this one. It's called "What Does the Bible Say About the Arctic?" You know, now I can also be. I mean, I also put Arctica, the word Arctica in parentheses, but I probably forgot the C here. So let me fix this, guys. There, now that's correct. So, today's video is called "What Does the Bible Say About the Arctic?" And I put Arctica in parentheses. But I just forgot a C right there. Now I got it, so. So I'm going to talk about the Arctic. You know, the North Pole. And why? It's probably because it's getting closer to Christmas anyway, so why not talk about the North Pole? Now, I know a lot of people want to do believe. Which person lives in the North Pole? Oh, yeah, I know people want you to believe it's Santa Claus. I know, because yeah, well, I don't believe in Santa Claus, except for St. Nicholas, who is the real Santa Claus, and he is dead right now, and I hope he's in heaven. You know? So, there's no Santa Claus in the North Pole, and there's no elves, no Mrs. Claus either. And also, reindeer can't fly either. Anyway, I know this is on Excel, so I'm going to tell you the geography of the North Pole in other languages. I'll get into animals maybe in part 2. Because I'm not finished with the animals yet anyway. I'll do that in part 2. And some other time, okay? So... Now... You can see as I guided let me show you who I guided. So, I guided in Spanish and Mandarin, which is Chinese. Okay, to show you, because those are the languages that I'm learning. Okay? You know, for the Lord. Okay? For the Lord Jesus Christ. You know? And because I want to show you how great it is to learn other languages for the Lord. You know? Right now I'm learning Spanish and Mandarin for the Lord. You know? Because I want to reach Hispanic. Because I don't want to reach just Americans. You know, I want to reach Hispanics and also Chinese to the Lord. You know, because, you know, everybody needs the gospel of Jesus Christ. Everybody does. You know, I don't want anyone to go to hell. That's why. So So here's geography. Now I know that yes, but even though I'm American, I want to reach as many people to the Lord as possible. And the Google's let's talk about stupid TikTok. Go away. I don't want it. I don't want that. Anyway, let's get into what North Pole is. Because, you know, so here it is. For geography in Spanish is geografía. Okay, sorry. Geografía. So hieroglypher. Okay, geografía. Okay, geografía. Now in Mandarin. Dilly. Okay, dilly. Okay, and here's in bold, simplified, and traditional Chinese characters. Now, the word Arctica. But first of all, what is Arctica? Well, I have to go to Google. Well, let me Google that, okay? I'll be asking though. Well, Arctica is just another way of another way of saying the Arctic. But also, and I think Arctic is something else because when people are saying about what people say about Arctica is that well, according to Wikipedia, which is a stupid website, because it says right here. I'm gonna read this to you. Arctica or Arctica is an ancient continent formed approximately. Oh yeah, okay. So it's 2.5 billion years ago in the in the Neo-Archean era, which is made Archean cratons, including the Siberian craton and its and a bar and its shields in Siberia. But okay, when we on Superior and Atlantic heritage of North America. Arctica was named by Rogers in 1996 because of the Arctic Ocean separation of the North American and Siberian cratons. Russian geologists write in English called the continent Arctica. I don't know if this has a C in Spanish, I don't know, but okay. So, used by the Atlantic Ocean craters, okay. Russian geologists write in English called the continent Arctica, which since it was given Arctica, which since it's given name by 1987, Arctica by Hyperborean Cretan, and its reference to Hyperboreans in Greek mythology. Let me read more of this, okay, and I'll get into it. So, okay, Shatsky, Shatsky in 1935 was the first assumed the crust, and the Arctic region was the continent origin. Shatsky, however, was the first. We're going to see since commemorating Paleozoic metamorphic rocks on the New Siberian, Ragol, and day-long islands of the Sardinian. Mobilists that had also enormously proposed of North America, from Eurasia and the Arctic basins, opened and retreating Alaska. Yeah, and you can read more Wikipedia, but that's what. Yeah, not to be confused with Arctic. So yeah, it used to be. So yeah, so according to Wikipedia, Arctica was an ancient continent that was formed 2.5 billion years ago, which is something that's false and something made up. You know, something made up. Now, Arctica. So, So Arctica in Spanish is Arctica.
Arctica.
But now Mandarin, which is now I know it's just Beiji on Google Translate, but I also put Beiji Zhao for Arctica. Yeah, I put Beiji Zhao. Sorry, Beiji Zhou. Yeah, sorry, Beiji Zhou. So Beiji Zhou for Arctica in Mandarin. Also, Arctida. Sorry, Arctida. Or this one is Arctida. Which is Arctida in Spanish. I'll get into Antarctica some other time, but I'll get into the Arctic next video, but I'll do this. No. Okay. Now, so this one is called Arctida. Okay, for now, that's another one. But it's a different one, so this one just has to be this one. So Arctida, I think this one is pronounced.
Arctida.
Okay, Arctida. Okay, so it's called Arctida. But it's another word, yeah, I did not know, so it's get to the Arctic some other time, but I'll fix this right now. Okay, now you can get into this one next. Okay. So now the word Arctic. Okay, sorry. Now Arctida. So now Arctida.
Arctida.
So Arctida. This is another word for Arctic. Arctica.
北极木
Yeah, it's Beijibu in Mandarin. Yeah. Yeah, Beijibu. Okay. Yeah, Beijibu. Okay, that's okay. Now, Mandarin. So now, the Arctic. Right, that's just Arctic. Arctic in Spanish is Arctic. Okay, is Artido. Okay, it's Artico.
Ártico.
Okay, yeah, that's Arctic. But okay, it's Artico in Spanish. Okay, now and now Mandarin.
北极
It's Beiji. Like I both by the traditional Chinese characters. Now the North Pole. Okay, the North Pole. In Spanish, it's Polo Norte.
Polo Norte.
In Mandarin, well,
北极
I put Beijing Z. I put Beijing Z. Yeah, Beijing Z. Okay, for North Pole anyway. Now, the Arctic Ocean, which is, it's called
Océano Ártico.
Oceano Artico in Spanish. And in Mandarin,
北冰洋
may be young. and you can see that may be young. Yeah, is in both it's the same in both divine and traditional Chinese characters. So that's Arctic Ocean. Now another way to say the Arctic Ocean is Northern Ocean. In Spanish is
Océano Norte.
Oceano Norte. I put Oceano del Norte right there, and
北大洋。
yeah, okay. So Google Translate is by Da Young. I put by Bu Young as well, so you can see by Bu Young and by Da Young for how to say Northern Ocean in Mandarin. It's just another way how to say the Arctic Ocean. Now, the Arctic Circle. Now, the Arctic Circle in Spanish is,
Círculo Ártico.
okay, Circulo Arctico. And in Mandarin is
北极圈。
Beiji Xuan. You can see it's the same in traditional and Chinese characters. Now, the Northern Lights. The Northern Lights. Now, I did put Luces del Norte in Spanish for the Northern Lights, but in Mandarin,
北极光。
yeah, Beiji Guang. Now, also, this one, Aurora Borealis, is what the Northern Lights are called, right? Because I know when you get close to the North Pole, you will see the Northern Lights, right? It's also called the Aurora Borealis. Now, this word also came from Latin, Aurora Borealis. In Spanish, it's
Aurora Boreal.
Aurora Boreal. And in Mandarin, it's still Beijing Guang.
北极光。
Now, the North Star. Okay, yeah, we can get to the North Star now. The North Star is probably a star that star is north. Well, it's a star that goes. Well, it's a star that's north of us, really. Well, it's not exactly north, but it's north, So now, the North Star. Okay, which is called Estrella del Norte.
Estrella del Norte.
Yeah, Estrella del Norte. Now, Mandarin. Now, Mandarin.
北极星。
北极星. Now, 北极星. Now, you also got this one. Now, we also got the name of the North Star. Polaris. Polaris in Spanish is Estrella Polar.
Estrella polar.
But in Mandarin, it's still 北极星.
北极星。
So, yeah. If you wanted to know, yeah. So that's Polaris. Now, this one, monopole. But me asking though, what is a monopole though? I think a monopole, well, here it is. A monopole is, well, a planet with only one pole. You know? I don't think there's such thing as that, but you know, that's something else. So, monopole is
Monopolo.
monopolo. And in Mandarin, it's,
单极子。
danjizi. Yeah, so monopole is a planet with only one magnetic pole. Now, this one called dipole. So monopole, monopolo, and diGZ, or
偶极子。
so I put BGZ for North Pole and danGZ for monopole. Now for dipole,
Dipolo.
dipolo, and then for Mandarin it's
偶极子。
OGZ. Okay, OGZ. Okay, in Mandarin. And that's dipole in Mandarin. Okay. And I know.
Dipolo. 偶极子。
So that's it. So that's all that's the geographic. So that's all the geography of the poles in different languages. And I know, and you told me to put more of the Antarctic. I'll get to that in a different video. Okay? Today I'm going to talk about the Antarctic. Today I'm going to talk about just the Arctic today. So what is supposed to say about the Arctic? You might be thinking, right? Well, the word Arctic is not found in the Bible. Yeah, the Bible does not talk much about the Arctic. You know, the Bible, God created the dry land on day 3. Well, it is true God created the oceans on day 1. So let's go read about the Arctic, okay? And you can learn about the Arctic. So the Arctic heat wave. Yeah, I know. People are believing that the ice is melting in the Arctic. Well, let's find out why people believe in that. So drill cores beneath the floor of the Arctic Ocean have revealed that starting to find fossils around the 430 meter mark indicate that seabed was above 23 degrees centigrade. Centigrade is another word for Celsius, which is 74 degrees Fahrenheit. Today's temperatures beneath the Arctic vary within a few degrees zero, and it's thought to reflect a global condition of warming, suggesting in all the oceans was at least this warm, pointing to a period called the Paleocene-Eocene thermal maximum. Okay, although it has long been suspected from oxygen isotope data derived by analyzing both the deep sea and Cenozoic record and from ice cores, such remarkably warm temperatures and have taken most scientists by surprise. However, this fits in very well with young Earth creationist view of history, which includes the global flood. Simplifications have followed that from the warm ocean. Warm waters will result high rates of evaporation, high rates of precipitation, and a very wet world. How wet? An ISD research undertaken at global informed sea, surface temperature 30 degrees centigrade. The result.
Did you come up with this?
No, Mom.
No? Okay.
In sustained precipitation, and locality is over 8 inches per hour. Heaviest precipitation would have been over the polar regions. Precipitation would fall as snow, and the snow would have compacted ice, and ice would move out as glaciers. The phenomenon corresponds to be a post-flood period. The ice states following the flood makes great sense. Second, a warm ocean would be enormously in genetic storms, like a traditional run globally uniform surface temperature of 3 degrees centigrade, evaluated in cyclones of hundreds of miles in diameter, breaking out across portions of the Earth, and not just the lower latitudes called hypercanes. These storms would have generated horizontal winds over 300 miles per hour, vertical winds of 100 miles per hour, and precipitation over 10 inches per hour. It is not difficult to imagine moist land fronts ripping across the polar regions, reducing when temperature drops of scores of degrees centigrade. Flash frozen mammoths recovered in the Arctic have until recently been a cryogenic mystery, although the mystery is by no means solved. A more credible answer is now possible. Such conditions so far have human experience apparently took place in the relatively recent past. Okay, now, many scientists suspect some kind of catastrophic releases of carbon dioxide to blame, warm spill. Others argue that the rise of temperature will have the expected cause rather than effect of carbon dioxide rise, and especially of the global flood world of history, and it would have expected warm temperature where air mass and would be followed. Reasons of a warm ocean following the flood include relatively warm pre-flood oceans, extraordinary levels of submarine volcanism during the flood, and possibly evaluated rates of radioisotope decay during the flood. Only a few decades ago, it has been considered that preposterous suggests that 30 plus degrees centigrade, that drove aviation post-flood ice age, which is short duration, but not today. Questions such as during the ice age, the lag time between the end of flood maximum ice advance, and many others, and will await future research. In the meantime, the overall flood model of biblical Earth history looks very good. Now, here's Ancient Genesis. This is right here. Ancient tropical forest fossilized in the Arctic. Now, would you like to go to visit the Arctic? Well, read this part, okay? So a trip to the Arctic is one of the most you should plan in advance of many places in the world. You need to take it to deciding what you would do when deciding what to do when you're could lead to someone disappointment. There aren't enough land-based tours relying for many short book trips experiences to be offered. And that costs about $30,000 to $40,000 to visit the Arctic. This is a lot of money, yeah. Anyway, we can, if you want to spend that much money, in order to visit the Arctic, the North Pole. Anyway, so let's read this, okay? So the discovery of the ancient trees and fossilized what looks like a forest, always big news. However, they have been believed, they have been tropical trees, and they are uncovered what is now the Arctic, and it's even bigger news. According to the article Science Daily and Geology, Chris Berry of the School of Earth and Ocean Science of the Cardiff University and John Marshall and National Oceanography Center, University of Southampton, and the idea of a number of fossil forests, and the idea of Spitsbergen, it's an archipelago in the Arctic Ocean north of Norway. The trees have made up claim of the forest of Constance. Such trees are not found alive today, but living in the rotations of the class of the club mosses. 26 timbs of the fossil lignocins were found at the 3 locations of vertical astrobons of internal casts 2 to 4 inches, 20 meters wide. Incidence of is about 68 inches, 20 meters apart. Where is that a fossil has been found of a layer, and these bases were extended into underneath mudstone, which have been interpreted by horizontal roots, and evolutionary interpretation. These scientists have made several claims about the fossil trees and evolutionary interpretation of the geologic record, which have been believed over millions of years, based on the relative position of the sandstone of the stress sequence of the fossil pollens and spores contained the underlying moldstone. These fossil trees were dated as late middle Devonian, or 380 million years old. This makes supposedly transitional and present colonization of the land. After all, these scientists believe that the strata slowly accumulated over millions of years. Different plants and animals lived, died, and buried and fossilized. And this is a sequence of plants found in the fossil record presents of their evolutionary development. And strata below Devonian, and these are shallow water fossils, whereas the deviation above the strata contain already evidence of these land plants, like these necronosids. Within evolutionary thinking, these necronosids are claimed to be among those plants, and already evolved the ability to grow soils and thus conquer the land. Okay, Liposoid is to be found fossilized joggins of Northern Scotia. These images of Scotia fossils have company and to both study. See Life Science Communication page. Let's get photograph credits. I'm going to see Wikipedia comments. It is interesting that authors of this research report suggest, and of these settlements of conglomerates, which occurred in an alluvial fan. Perhaps an admission and study really was not soil, but instead submission had to be rapid enough to bury these tree stems quickly before they could rot. This is not dishonesty, just a result of their worldview bias, and their massive details could stem important in their interpretation of the data. Now, furthermore, these leucosids are claimed to have been tropical plants. This base has been island of Spitsbergen, which was situated in the past when the continents emanated different positions. According to the conventional paleogeographic reconstruction and paleoclimatical interpretation of Scotties, Bowcut and Chin, Spitsbergen and Devonian in the Paleo-equatorial zone, and thus tropical. So the leucosids must have been tropical plants, since then Spitsbergen have drifted towards, supposedly and slowly, as per conventional theory, its current Arctic location. Was withering a factor? Putting pieces of their puzzle, Mary and Marshall claim this is a high tree density. Tropical vegetation may have promoted rapid weathering of soils, and hence enhanced carbon dioxide drawdown. In this press release, these authors claim that these leucosids must have had powerful carbon dioxide absorbing abilities, because discovery of these strange forests could finally explain this drastic drop in the atmosphere carbon dioxide during the late Devonian period by as much as the 15-fold reduction. So what we are made to make of all these claims, and what lessons can we learn? We have to be discerning when we read such news stories, and to separate what is actual observable fact and what is evolutionary interpretation. To begin with, it is true the authors were not searching for pyramidic change, because the object of this search report is described in terms of the fossils they found, and such was the paper report's methods of the results. When they found this discussion broader implication of the results, because there has such been a long-standing evolutionary claim that 15-fold reduction in the atmosphere oxide during the defoliation. That's exactly due to the rise of tree-sized plants and lockup of the larger amounts of common can small herbs composed nearly leafless stems. The authors claim that found evidence that the plants have done that, but where the data in the paper would have been included in these lichocids have powerful carbon dioxide absorbing abilities. They could have genetically reduced the atmospheric carbon dioxide as much as 15-fold. There may have cited earlier authors who the paper which have included these lichocids have powerful carbon dioxide absorbing abilities that could have dramatically reduced the atmospheric carbon dioxide as much as 15-fold. The mirroring cite earlier authors who provide evidence of anesthetic dioxide drawdown. These lichocids are extinct, so their carbon dioxide absorbing abilities can be measured today. So how these past atmospheric conditions of weathering of soils inferred from these fossils to their distinct varieties of lichocids today, albeit are much smaller than fossil leukocyte trees. Leukocyte trees have been for a mutual metabolic strategy of uptake and just of argument. However, these does not necessarily follow because of the leukocytes have covered up to very stronger fossil. Simply agree that the present is not the key to the past, but rather what has happened to the past, and buried leukocytes explain the fossil in the present. The present is not the key to the past, but rather what has happened to the past. These lichocids explain the forest in the present. Well, the Bible is the key of the past. That's the answer anyway, but let's keep reading. This fossil-bearing sedimentary rock on Spitsbergen is buried and understood its biblical perspective of the eyewitness account in Genesis to be part of the geologic record of the flood. Billions of dead things buried in rock layers laid down by water all over the earth. Genesis chapter 6-9. These fossil lichocids are not they are 80 million years old, but they are only about 4,350 years old, or you can also say 4,350 years old, or you can say 4,350 years old. You know, the approximate date of the year of the flood, and the pre-flood plants were swept away by the waters of the flood, buried in these sedimentary layers. Now, what's not included? Now, why are they buried vertically if they did not grow where they were not found buried? Surely the roots found in the mudstone prove that the lichocids grow in the place. Actually, no. There is no indication. An indication paper by Berry and Marshall they have found roots and get to the lichocids trunks. Indeed, they did not describe or provide photographs. They have clean roots and did not claim that these were tagged to the lichocids trunks. Okay, they were just in the mudstone interpreted by Peso below the lichocids trunks. Yet the authors did not provide the criteria by which to identify its roots. Even if they explore the experts history of its identifications, the reads paper and simply cannot be sure of their indeed roots. The authors that stratification and underlying horizons demonstrates limited vertical penetration and bioduration, but these routes have simply been bioturbation without identification criteria, provided we cannot know because the authors do not clearly describe these features, and it's clearly the degree or multiplicity involved in any case for the abundance of right of these similar described, and these could be of very few routes. This seems rather odd, especially these forests were very rapidly, and the trunks were preserved, but not the roots. The modern forest roots are often durable than the trunks. Although we do not know that for sure that this is true with the plants I've described here because they are extinct. Perhaps, like their modern counterparts, the roots of these plants were more like tubular leaves, which are not woody, and therefore they may not have persisted for long. And these these roots belong into the liquid-sits and identified mudstone in the fossil soil or paleosoil, based on the referencing paleosoil expert Greg Retaliak, but even identifies paleosols on the basis of the slow gradual burial belief system by which evolution has interpreted most of what they see in the rock record. The authors do not include any criteria identification of the paleosoil other than the mudstone that contains roots. And the sitting of paleosoil expert Retaliak. However, the authors generally describe the trunks are being buried in limestone beds. This published stratigraphic column indicates there are coarse and sandstones. Sandstones. They mention that the sandstones contain pebble-sized clast and sometimes have basal glycominerates. Then later they met the lingosid trunks were actually buried in the glamourate. This is significant because coarse sandstones with the pebble-sized clast and glamourates require fast-moving bodies of water and their transition. Furthermore, the fact of the basis of the liquid-sit trunks were embedded with the underlying mudstone. Mudstone does not mitigate against the rapid burial. The mudstones would have been demonstrated experimentally rapidly deposited. These forests are thus unusual the fact they are buried in agglomerate, which is similar to the claim of fossil forest of the Special Ridge and Yellowstone National Park. Indeed, Simba Black, from having observational data, Specimen Ridge, and draw conclusions also led to the wrong conclusions there. There is an excellent modern observed by analog for a rapid vertical burial of these liquid trunks. There is a fact of excellent observed analog rapid vertical burial of these liquid trunks, consistent of the lack of the attached roots, since of the modern counterparts of the fossil liquid-sids have been swallowed by bunkers, have a swollen bulbous bases with roots coming directly off them. These fossil liquid-sids may have been well structured to sink upright in water. The Superior Lake at Mount St. Helens after the May 18th in 1980 eruption floating logs which have been snapped off by the volcanic blast that sheared the tree trunks off and became waterlogged. Stika were buried in vertically in the accumulating sediments on the lake bottom. This analog has been very successfully used to explain Specimen Ridge fossil forest because exactly the same features of trunks with roots stand off, buried and rapidly deposited sediments are seen there. So these liquid sits do not present fossil forests. Now, cause and effect. And these are the forests in the geologic record. These suggest the order of the different creatures, plants during the flood. 10. The Bible says a flood had begun was breaking up the foundations of the great deep, so implies that the flood began in the pre-flood ocean basins. And the earth movements have evolved as the ocean floor and interpreted rapture would have produced tsunamis would have crossed the ocean and toward the land. Near the coast, the tsunamis have scoured the shallow ocean floor, picking up shallow water, marine creatures, and carrying them with sediments to be buried by the sediment-laden surges of the ocean up to the land. And these liquid sits were part of the floating forest growing on the ocean surface near the coastline, and the forests have been nixed, broken up, swept away by the ocean surge landwards and buried these liquid sits and sediments. The only security you have land plants would get buried after the initial discussion. Only shallow water marine creatures during the early stages of the flood. Now it is possible that Spitsbergen was equatorial latitude. At the time of these liquid sits were buried during the flood year. Before the flood, it seems that likely have been one supercontinent. Genesis chapter 1 verse 9 to 10 says, God gathered the waters of one piece of the dry land, which may likewise have been one place, and the rapturing of the ocean floor, resulting by the breaking foundations of the great deep, and have been split a supercontinent apart. And the conditional fragments have been rapidly moved across the process called constructive tectonics. Actually, coming against today's continents within their current positions. This Spitsbergen and containing these fossil liquid sets may have well moved through equatorial latitudes during the flood, a constructive journey, and its pre-flood position on the globe on its present Arctic location. During definitely the fast movements and the common cycle during the flood. As for the 15-fold reduction of the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and it is merely artificial consequence of the scientist's evolutionary interpretation of the carbon content of deformation of the carbonaceous sedimentary rocks with that in Cambrian and Cernation of sedimentary rocks, and that their observation of the fossil liquid sets might be good candidates of the causation reduction. Flood geologists have instead determined by different carbon contents of these sedimentary rocks, and simply of the carbon is buried in these different layers only weeks apart during the flood. And these liquid sits do not grow where the found buried. They are not drawing down the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere at the time they were buried. That is not to say that other plants did not grow down the carbon dioxide from the pre-flood atmosphere, and undoubtedly they did, indeed. They may have been on a higher carbon dioxide content in the atmosphere. Prior to the flood improves that plant growth, and carbon dioxide have been added to the atmosphere by the catastrophic volcanic activity that erupted by thick extensive lava flows during the flood. Though definitely were fast movements in the carbon cycle during the flood, enormous quantities of plants, creatures were buried. Massive volcanoes erupted, and predation of these waters of the flood to help produce vast quantities of limestone in the decades after the flood, this would have resulted in the climate instability that caused the Great Ice Age. There is, however, an ironic twist to the carbon dioxide story. It has been 15 times more carbon dioxide in the Earth's atmosphere in the past than it is good for vigorous plant growth. Furthermore, in the evolutionary view, this was before men arrived, and this is seen burn wood, coal, and drive cars and trucks. In other words, men had no control over the drastic past climate changes and claimed by these scientists. There's a lesson, though, that this men had no control over over what happened during the flood, and thus also climate after the flood. All of which was under God's sovereign control, and he has judged the pre-flood human population because of their wickedness. Similarly, man has no control over the present and future climate, which are also under God's continuing sovereign control. And as God has judged the whole world the last time by water, and he has warned us the next time, and he will judge the globe by fire. That's 2 Peter chapter 3, verses 5 to 7. Okay, so that's to talk about the Arctic. So that's another thing about the Arctic. Yeah, I know. So it costs a lot of money to visit the Arctic. Okay, and so I'll show you how to get saved. So now I talk about the geographic about the Arctic. And now, if you want to get into the Arctic animals, I'll do that in part 2. Maybe I'll do that in part 2. Okay, because I'm not doing that yet anyway. I'll do that in a later video, okay? The Arctic animals. I'll do that in part 2. This one's already a long video anyway. So I'll try to get saved according to the Bible, okay? And then I'll go. The point of evolution is to damn souls to hell. When you go to heaven, believe all Lord Jesus Christ. Salvation is by faith alone, based on Jesus Christ alone. And once you're saved by easy ways of truth, meaning you can't lose your salvation by easy ways of salvation. It's easy to believe in. All you do is just believe in Jesus Christ for salvation. So, the Arctic. Okay? The North Pole. This thing, the Arctic, proves the Bible. So now I talked about the Arctic. Okay, and next video I'll talk about. The next video will be called the opposite of this. The Arctic. It's called What Does the Bible Say About Antarctica? It's called What Does the Bible Say About Antarctica? Now I'll talk about Antarctica next video, okay? And plus, and I'll tell you what Antarctica means. Antarctic means opposite of the north, which means south. Okay, I'll get to that next video. Okay? Okay, because I have to go right now. So thank you for watching this video. Be just goodbye.